So first and foremost, before we are learning anything, so we must be clear on what we are learning, why we are learning, and to whom audience is this value, right? Now, as you all know, we are learning about Python here, and these lectures will be suitable for anyone who has zero understanding about Python, zero understanding about programming, or you have just started writing some code or started learning about this stuff. So this suits you as well, right? Or even if you come from any non-technical background, right, so which is non-engineering background as well, so this series will be very helpful for you. All right, so yes, now as you all know, Python is today's language for AI, right? So everywhere you see all the AI that is being built, every day we see something new all the time, right? Especially in AI. In for example, we've seen all these LLMs doing so many magical things, right? So the underlying code of all of this is Python, right? So Python is a hero language right now, and there are a lot of reasons for us why we have to learn Python. So we'll cover each of these in a simple, fun, and step-by-step way. Now first, even before talking about Python, so what is this programming, right? So why do we have to program something, right? Now for example, if we have to talk to our friends, right? So we talk in our in our own languages, right? So whether it's in English, whether it's our hometown languages, right? So in Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, whatever it is, right? So we have our own languages to communicate with people, correct? Now similarly, if we want to talk to computers, right, and get some things done, we need to have some communication between the computer and us, right? So that is why we need this program, right? So in order to communicate with the computer, and not only, right, so by communicating, what do we do? At the end of the day, there is some action, right? We want to get some things done. We want to create a website. We want to create a calculator, right? Or you want to create your ticket bookings, right? So something, right? So for you to get some things done, or to communicate with people from different countries, right? So to have chats between people, right? So, or to have a video call, something like this, right? So you need to interact with the computers, right? So that's why we have a programming language. So there are lots of programming languages: C, C++, Java, JavaScript, Python, HTML, right? So there's so many languages. So Python is one among them, right? So now that we have clarity on programming language, now okay, so David, why do we need so many programming languages, right? It's like, can't we stick to just one, right? So why do we need Python at all, right? So yes, I mean, the way we communicate, right, it can be simple, it can be complex, it varies from person to person, right? So I would always recommend this to imagine you yourself talking to different groups of people, right? The way you communicate is different, right? So for friends, you don't have to explain about things in detail, right? Or for your manager or for your colleagues, you use a different tone, right? So similarly, even for programming as well, you need some programming languages with different features. That was the main idea behind Python as well. It should be simple, easy to understand, but still without losing its effectiveness, right? So with the existing programming languages, can we build something on top of that so that it's more easy to understand and people can learn it faster as well? So that was the main idea. I think way back, it dates back to, I think, 1991 is where we heard about Python for the first time, and then later on a lot of advancements happened, and here we are, right? So probably the most popular language right now, right? So okay, so now that the context is set, so let's jump into writing our first piece of code in today's session. Now for someone who has no idea about how to run code or how to set up all of this, I'll just give you some hints, and also I'll tell you the easiest way as well, and the way we'll be using for the entire lecture series. So first of all, if you want to set up everything on your local machine, so I would recommend you to download Python. You can just go to this download section, so download the most latest version of Python, right? So just go to the Python website, so whenever you see the latest version, you can download the latest version as well, right? So as you can see, you can download anything. Okay, if you want to download previous versions also, you will be able to download those previous versions as well. Okay, so very simple, download and install. So this Python, it's more like an interpreter, so it will try to understand what you are writing and then executes the code. Now where do you write the code, right? So for you to write the code, there are multiple platforms, multiple interfaces. So I'll give you some examples, right? So there's the most popular one, the one that a lot of developers use. It's called Visual Studio Code. So this is the most familiar one. So if you really want to build your career looking at a long-term solution, then I would recommend you to use Visual Studio Code, right? And if you are a person who is more into some kind of analytics, right? So then I can recommend you a couple of tools. One is Spider. So a lot of people use this tool, Spider IDE. So this has good setup. You can write your code, view your files, variables and visualization, so all at one place. So this is also fairly popular, but this makes sense for someone who's into more any kind of analytics or data science kind of stuff, right? So there are Jupyter notebooks as well. You can explore about Jupyter notebooks. So this is also very familiar among the data science community, right? So for you to install Spider or Jupyter, so there is something called Anaconda. You can use Anaconda directly. So this comes with a package. You don't have to download each thing separately. So all analytics softwares especially are covered in Anaconda itself. You will be able to download all of them at one place, right? All of this come at one place, right? So if you are a developer, use Visual Studio Code. If you are someone who's into data science, looking that as a long-term vision, you can download Anaconda and use Spider or Jupyter, whichever is comfortable for you. Okay, so David, this is all good, but I'm looking for most simple one. Can you tell me something simple so that I can easily, without any downloads, without any installations, is there something that is very simple for me? Yes, so there is something called Colab, COLAB. That is all you need to type. If you just search for it, right, so you will get something like this. So here I already have it open. So instead, if you just search on Google, right, so without using this link, so let's say I just search for Colab, right? The first link that you get, so just click on this Colab. So Colab is from Google. It's called Google Colab. Now after you click on the first link, then you get a pop-up window like this. You can click on this new notebook, right? So that will take you to a new notebook. So let's click on this, and this will take you to a new notebook. So it is taking some time to load, and I already have my notebook here, so I'm just creating this notebook here. Okay, so search for Colab, click on the first link, you see a pop-up, then there is a new notebook. So as soon as you click on the new notebook, you will get something like this. Okay, the first thing that we do is let us name our notebook. So for example, let's name it day 1, right? So day 1, I'm just naming it, so that way you can actually always go back and see which notebook to refer. Okay, so day 1. Now this is a very simple tool. As you can see, there's a lot of white space. This is where you write all your code, execute everything. On the right hand side, you can actually share your notebook. Someone can comment on it. It's more like Google Doc, Google Sheets kind of thing. So that's why Google Colab, right? So it comes with AI integration as well. You can use AI for this, some settings here, right? And you have to click on this connect. Okay, so just click on this connect. So this way it will automatically assign you some resources to run your code, right? No downloads, no installations, just couple of clicks. We clicked on new notebook, we clicked on connect. That's all. We didn't do anything. You are all set to write your first code. Okay, so here you can see there is start coding. You can click on this and you can start typing. Our first line in any programming language, the first line that you write is hello world. So let's do the same thing as well, right? So print, and put brackets. So I'll come back to like why are we doing this, what is this print, right? I'm just zooming for you so that you can see better, right? For now, just follow me, right? I'll explain you why am I writing this, right? What does it actually mean? We'll go to all of this. Okay, so I just clicked on this run button. You will be able to run your code. Print two brackets, right? So this normal braces, then in double quotes, hello world, right? Now the first rule of programming is to observe, right? So please make sure you observe very small details. If you miss this bracket, run it, it will not run. Okay, if you miss this code, then run it, it will not run, right? So the first rule of programming is to observe very carefully. Okay, so just pay attention, right? That is all you need. Whenever you write about code, whenever you think about code, be precise, right? Be precise as a pilot, right? So just observe carefully, right? So that is something that I would always recommend. So just print, put brackets. You can replace it with your name as well. So I'm putting it hello David. You'll see hello David is printed right here, right? So just summarizing whatever we did so far, we covered about basics of what is programming language. Then we understood a little bit about Python as well, the current use cases of Python. Then we learned about how can we execute Python in different tools, what are the different tools, how do we do it. Then we wrote our first line of code on Google Colab and executed it as well, right? So that's all for this one. I'll see you in the next module. Right, welcome back. So let's move to our day 2, which is about learning about basic Python syntax. Now in the last lecture we wrote our first line of code, right? So now let's jump into learning how to write the code, what does it actually mean, and also we'll try to do some basic arithmetic operations in today's lecture, right? Now yes, let's create our day 2 notebook. You can create a new one as well, like for example, very simple, go to file and you can create a save copy in drive as well. You can connect your Google Drive as well, okay? Or you can change the current notebook to day 2 as well, right? So let me create a new notebook. So file, new notebook in drive, it will automatically open up a new notebook. So yes, it is creating our new notebook as well, right? So let us give it a name, day 2. Right, now again don't forget to connect. Very simple, just one click. Now first one is, let's talk about data types, right? So what are these data types? Why do I say the word data type itself? See, I mean, we have things that we interact with, right? So when you write a piece of code, right? So when you write some word like a print, it's in letters, right? When you do some mathematical operation like 1 plus 1, it's in numbers, right? So these are nothing but data, right? So data in different forms, right? Now that form is nothing but the type. So Python, it has its own definitions. So let's take a look at what are those definitions. Now the first one is integers, right? Now I'll tell you the beauty of Python here, right? I'll just put some code cells here. Now when you type a word integer, it doesn't say anything. It says, okay, it gives you some right, so some correction, right? So okay, something you've typed something that I don't understand. But when you type it int, right, then you see it is actually giving you, it is valid. And also if you see, it is in a different color. Like, well, let's say I put David, it's coming in black color, right? But when I put the word int, it's in different color. So that way you can understand. So Python has some code languages, right? Now int is one, then you have float, then you have string, right? So these are some things that I wanted to cover today. So as we go ahead, learn more things, we will get to understand a lot more things in detail as well, right? So int, float, string. So these are nothing but some keywords in Python. So you can see the color is different. So that's how you can easily identify because of the collab. So what are each of these? And what do they mean, right? So for example, int is nothing but integer, which is negative numbers, positive numbers, including 0, right? So anything is an integer, so all the way from minus infinity, right? So minus infinity to like all the way -1, 0, then you have 1 all the way to infinity, right? So this is your integer, right? Now float is a decimal, right? So float is nothing but a decimal in a simple English language. So decimal, as we know, like 0.1 is a decimal, 0.01 is a decimal, -0.1 is also a decimal, 10.3 is also a decimal, right? So anything which has number before the dot, after the dot, it's like the decimal, it's called a float. Okay, so that is about float. String is nothing but characters, right? So a character is nothing but, it could be a single letter. For example, A is a character, right? Now yes, right, so as you see, I've put a character in double quotes. You can see these are quotes, right? So, and you have double quotes, you can also use single quotes, right? So whatever is your preference, so you can use letter, right? So it's nothing but a string. If you put something like a bus, this is also a string. Or a sentence, right? I'm in a bus, this is also a string. So this is nothing but a set of characters, right? And if you notice, there is a space here, right? So this space, this is also a character, right? So empty space, it's also a character. Or a hashtag, it's also a character, right? So this @ this also characters, right? So if you want to read more about it, it's called ASCII characters, right? So there's a code for each of these characters, right? But anything is a character, letters, right? So anything, but thing that you need to remember is you have to put the strings in double quotes or single quotes. So only then Python will understand that it is a character. As you see, as soon as I put it in double quotes, it is able to assign some different color, some kind of a brownish color, as you can see, right? It understands that, okay, these are some quotes. Okay, I put a dot here, it should be, right? So that is about strings. Now, so David, what is all this? You are writing like a notebook, right? So what happens if you run it, right? So this code, I'm just using it to explain to you, right? So you don't have to run this code, right? What you can do is, I'll tell you some couple of shortcuts here. Now Control+A, right? So go to this cell, anywhere in this cell, and do Control+A. You will be able to select the entire content of this. Okay, so this is used to select all, right? And then I'll tell you one more shortcut here, right? So select all and do Control \. You see the magic? I'll put the shortcut here, Control +\. This is to comment all. Okay, once again, we'll select all, then we do Control \. Or what it does is it comments the entire thing. You can see it is converted into green color and it assigns some hashtag. So which means even if you run it, nothing happens, right? So it's like a notes to you, right? So comments, right? So we'll do the same thing here. Go to the cell. These are called cells. You select all, do Control \. Then this will give you the comment all. Right, sorry, this is not \, this is a /. Okay, so right, so okay, so I hope you understood till comments here. So we went through data types, then we understood how to comment all as well. Now let's talk about something called variables, right? So it's a very interesting topic, right? So now let's learn about variables as well, right? For example, I have some numbers in my mind and I just want to calculate some numbers. Okay, so I bought some things in a shop and I just want to use Python to use it like a calculator, right? So I just want to count some numbers, right? So the things that I've purchased, right? For example, I bought 3 things. So one of them costed 100 rupees, another one costed 25 rupees, another one costed 40 rupees. Okay, so now what you can do is you can just run this and then 165. You see, you can use it as a calculator as well, right? So you can do a lot of math operations. You can do 100 into 7, right? right? So you can use collab as your, right? So you can keep adding cells by clicking on this plus code symbol. As you see, we can keep adding more cells to it, right? You can do a lot of things. For example, you can divide number as well, right? So all the basic operations can be done on collab itself. Like if you put double slash, it will give you an integer division, and if you put percentage, it gives you the reminders as well, right? So lots of operations can be done, right? Now, for example, let's say I'm watching a cricket match. Okay, I'm watching a cricket match, and Virat scored 60 runs. Okay, so now what did I do here? Okay, so David, while you're saying you just did something, okay, so what did I do? I have a number, I have a person, right? So I'm trying to connect the number to a person, right? The score to a person. So that is why we need these variables, right? So now Virat has scored 60, and let's say Rohit has scored 30, right? And then Rahul has scored 10. Okay, so now Virat scored 60 equals, I'm using an equal to symbol. So left side you have Virat and right side you have his score. You have to connect these two via equal to symbol. Okay, then you have Rohit, then you have Rahul, right? So now let us run all of this. When you try to fetch for Virat, you just put Virat and just run the code. What happens is you automatically get Virat's score. Or same thing happens if you put Rahul, right? If you run Rahul, you will get 10. And the beauty is you can add these things as well. You can do like Virat plus Rohit. If you do this, what happens is you will get sum of both of their runs, and you can keep adding, right? It's not like you can only add two things. You can add multiple things as well in one single line, right? Now these variables, you can also assign some simple values like x equals to 1, y equals to 2, z equals to 3, right? So you can use letters as well. Okay, you can use some names, set of characters, and then you can use x, but don't use numbers, right? So 1x, this will not work. As you see, it is throwing error, but you can use x1, right? So, or x2, you can use this, right? And if you want to assign multiple variables in one line, you can do that. X comma y comma z is equals to 1 comma 2 comma 3. So this automatically assigns x to 1, y to 2, z to 3. Isn't it amazing? Okay, so David, this is okay, amazing to see already. So let's recall what did we do, right? So we learned about int, float, string, set of integers, negative infinity to positive infinity including 0, right? Then float, anything with a decimal is a float, negative, positive, doesn't matter. Then string is nothing but characters, single character, set of characters, right? So other characters like space, hash, @ others, comma, all the things, right? Now we learned couple of shortcuts, Control A to select all, Control / to comment all. Then we learned about variables, so you can assign a value to a variable. So this is a variable and this is its value. So we are equating both using an equals to symbol. If you want to assign multiple variables, you can do that in a single line. X comma y comma z equals to 1, 2 and 3. Isn't it amazing? So let's close this session with a simple input and output thing. For example, I want to introduce ABC numbers, right? So A comma B, I'll define it 10 comma 20. Okay. Now my C, I want C to be like A plus B, right? You can do those kind of things as well. So C is a new variable. C is equals to A plus B, isn't it? Okay, so now let's run it. As you see, it has run it and it has stored about C. Let's see what actually the value of C is. You can see it is 30. So that's how you can secretly store your values as well, right? So yes, that's all for this lecture. See you in the next one. Right, so as we've come to end of day 2, so just wanted to add one more thing as well. So as we go along these Python tutorials, so I just wanted to tell you that we will be using AI and how to actually code along with AI as well. For example, if you look at this collab notebook itself, you can see this start coding or generate with AI. Every time I am trying to add some code cell, it is giving the same prompt, right? So it wants me to use this AI, right? So we will discover this. Then you can also see Gemini towards this top right corner as well, so we will explore this as well, right? So how do we use Gemini feature inside collab itself, right? And we will also be using external tools like a chat GPT or Claude AI or Perplexity or more such tools, how we can code along with these tools as well, so that our work becomes more efficient, and also we can do it faster as well, right? So see you in the next module. Alright, in the last lecture we've learned about writing a basic Python syntax. We learned about variables, data types, we did some simple math operations as well. Now let's move on to the day 2. So let's create a new notebook once again. Right, so talking about day 3. So today we are going to learn about something very interesting. It's called control structures and conditional statements. It's a couple of very interesting topics, and very in terms of interviews you will definitely encounter these kind of topics for sure, right? So pay attention to this one. Now let's say I want to go to a movie, okay, and I don't know about the ticket price. I just have 100 rupees in my pocket, okay, and now there are a bunch of movies in the PVR, right? So let's say I went to a PVR. There are like 3-4 movies that are playing, and each movie ticket is in a different price, right? And one movie is 120 rupees, another movie is 90 rupees, another movie is 150 rupees, and the other one is like 200 rupees, okay. Now I only have 100 rupees, so I can't go any movie which costs me more than 100 rupees, right? Now I can go to a movie which is less than or equal to 100 rupees, isn't it? Now let's say I want to create this whole logic in Python, right? So I have some money in the pocket. There is a movie that is playing and I know the ticket price, right? So will I be able to go that movie or not? So what do we do in general? What do we do? Simple common sense. I'll just compare, right? You compare the ticket price with the money in your pocket and then you decide, right? Now whatever I've mentioned in a plain English language, let's try to do that in the same Python, okay? So Python is, sometimes it's like reading a book. So let's see how it actually feels like reading a book, okay? I'll write the code first and then I'll explain you, so that you actually understand. Just observe while I'm writing the code and then I'll explain you the things in detail, right? Now ticket price, just observe carefully. I'm using ticket price and I'm using an underscore. So this is called an underscore, right? So the one which is basically after 0 in your keyboard, right? So if you put a shift and this, you'll get this underscore. So this is called an underscore, right? So ticket underscore price. So I would always recommend use this. So a lot of people, what they do is, if it is ticket price, they type like this, right? Or they type something like this, ticket price, right? So I would recommend use lowercase most of the times. Don't use uppercase, like some people type it this way, right? So just like in English, right? So I would recommend don't. So use lowercase completely. So ticket, and if you have 2 words, separate them by an underscore like this. So ticket price, so let's say ticket price is 100 rupees and my wallet size is, okay, so let's make ticket price 90 rupees, isn't it? And my wallet size is 100, okay, and now let's run it. Now these are nothing but your variables, these are nothing but your values. So let's add more code cells here. Okay, so now if you look for ticket underscore price and run this. So by the way, you can also run this every time. You don't have to click on this. You can do control enter. So control enter is a shortcut to run your code, right? So we've learned about another shortcut. I'll put this shortcut control plus enter to run the code, right? So control plus enter automatically runs your code. Now, as I said, we have to compare these two, right? So ticket price and wallet size. Now for comparison in Python, what we use, it is called if. Okay, so let's see how do you actually compare. If ticket price, right? So now my ticket price, if it is less than my wallet, right, or equal to, right? So less than or equal to, then what I say is I'm just printing, just follow me, I understand. So David, what are you writing? Okay, this is wallet size, so let's use wallet size. I'll write it first and then I'll explain it to you. Okay, wallet size, then print, hooray, I can go to this movie, right? And else, sad, I don't have enough purse. Okay, if you run this, so what you get is, okay, you see my wallet size is 100, my ticket price is 90, and then okay, so I'm comparing these two, I'm getting this output. Okay, so David, now tell us the magic, what did you write here? Right, as I said, we are doing a comparison, ticket price, wallet size. How am I comparing? So these are the less than, equal to, so these are nothing but comparison symbols. So you will do a comparison using less than symbol, greater than symbol, less than or equal to symbol, greater than or equal to symbol, right? So sometimes use double equal to and not equal to as well. So these are called not equal to and this is equal to, right? So less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than or equal to, double equals to, or not equals to, right? So ticket price, if my ticket price is less than my wallet size, I can go to this movie, else I can't go to this, right? So I don't have enough purse, right? Now okay, so David, I see some interesting characters and I see you've put some space here, right? So what's going on, right? Now the way you write this whole if statements is basically, this is nothing but a flow chart, right? So this is nothing but a flow chart. If I have this happens, if I don't, this happens, right? So let's say in elections you have two parties, right? Whoever wins the majority, they win. If they don't, they lose. In cricket, if the team chases the score, they win. If they don't chase, they lose, right? So similarly, even here as well, if my wallet size is greater than the ticket price, I go to this movie, right? Now okay, if the way I just write some skeleton code as well so that you understand this. So you write an if and then you compare, right? And then you have to put a colon symbol. So every time you write an if, it has to ends with a colon symbol, right? Sometimes this compare is also called condition, right? So I'm using condition here, okay? If and then your condition, then close your condition with a colon, then click on enter. So because I'm using collab, it automatically understands that okay, this is an if, I have to give some space, right? Now why this space, why not write from here? So that is a convention, like so some programming languages, they have these brackets, you have to write a code within these brackets. For example C, you have to put these brackets and you write it. So this is different. So Python is like a more posh language, you don't need brackets, just give a space, I'll understand, okay? So here I'm giving double spaces, sometimes you have to give 4 spaces, and here you write your execution, right? So whatever you want to do, right? So what you want to do, if it is this, so I wanted to print something, so I printed something, okay? Now then if every if is followed by an else, right? So then else, then what happens here, you can write to do statement here and then that's all, right? So this is how if, then a condition, then to do, then else, and then you mention what to do here as well, okay? Now this is a simple case, I hope you understood. So what did we do? So we took a couple of variables, then we compared it, then we wrote our simple statement. Now for example, let's say I have another problem. Okay, now I have a set of marks out of 100. So let's say I've achieved 85. Okay, and in my school the grading system is something like this, right? So if you are 90 plus, then you get an A plus. Okay, then if you are 80 plus, you get an A. If you are 70 plus, you get a B plus, right? If you are 60 plus, you get a B. And let's imagine if you are less than 60, you fail. Okay, so I'm being very harsh here, I know, you fail. Okay, so now, okay, it's no longer one condition, there are multiple conditions. So how do we tackle this situation? So in this case, we use something called not just if and else, we also use something called elif. Okay, so let's see how do we do that. Okay, now as we know, let us add more codes here. Okay, so yes, now if my marks, we already understood how to write a condition, so let's use that. If my marks are greater than or equals to 90, which is an integer, you close the condition with a colon. So it is a good practice to put your condition in brackets. So let's say I put brackets here, right? So yes, print, what do I say, A plus. Okay, now here what you can do is, instead of putting else, you can type in elif, then again put some condition, your marks greater than or equals to 80, right? Then print, what do you get, A, isn't it? Then same elif, then again marks greater than or equal to 70, then yes, okay, 1 second, I missed it. Okay, you put a colon, print, this is B plus, and so on. You keep writing it until you fulfill all the conditions, greater than or equals to 60, then print B, then here you can write else, print fail. Okay, so now let us put some marks above here as well. So marks, let's say I've got 91 now, so let's run this. So let's see what happens. Okay, you see, we have built our own grading system, automatically gives you the grade A plus. Let's modify it to, let's say, 76. Okay, 76 is a B plus. Or let's say I got only 40, then it's a fail, unfortunately, right? So this is how you can use if, else, or if and elif as well. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one. Okay, so now that we've learned all of this about if else, let us see how we can use Gemini to test ourselves. Okay, I'll also tell you how to use this feature inside Collab. Okay, so this is our Collab, and towards this top right corner there's this Gemini, and click on this, right? So let's say I'm a very beginner in Python, right? And I want to test myself, right? So how well am I able to do? For example, I've learned this concept of if else, and I want to practice this if else, right? So genuinely, now you just put the same prompt. I'm learning if else in Python. Can you suggest me a basic question to practice? Okay, so you just hit enter, and let's see what happens. Okay, here you see, right? So age equals 20, write an if else statement to check if age is greater than or equal to 18. If age is greater than or equal to 18, print you are adult, otherwise print you are a minor. And not just it is giving you the question, but it is also giving you some sources, right? So where exactly it is fetching the answer from, if you want to read answer as well. Isn't this amazing, right? So you can keep using this feature within, like, you don't have to open anything externally also, right? So you can just use Gemini and keep having conversation here itself. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next module. Alright, our next topic is loops. So let's create a new notebook. So this loops is another important topic, fundamental topics. Let's name our day 4 and let's connect it. Okay, it says too many sessions, so let me close my previous sessions, and yes, let's refresh it now. Okay, let me just manage this. Let's remove day 2 and day 1, close. Right, so talking about loops, right? Now loop, as the definition itself says, it's like something repetitive, right? For example, you hear about why are you playing the same song in a loop, right? So, or play the song in a loop, right? Play the video in a loop, right? It's like a loop, right? So it's something that is happening again and again, right? So repeat action, that's nothing but a loop. So even in Python, you can also create those loops. So let's talk, before even going into these loops, we need to understand some words. Okay, so let's understand those words. Now we are talking about loops. So in Python you have for loop, you have while loop. So here I'll talk about for loop. You can look about while loop as well. So mostly people use for loop, right? So for most of the things. So in similarly to if, else, elif, there is also for. So it is also a keyword in Python. You see the pink color that we saw even for if also, right? We saw this pink color for if. So for is a keyword, and you can also note down another keyword. It's called range, and range is more like a function. So function is nothing but, so later we will talk about functions as well in the next week, but range is also a function. So remember we did print, so print also had this brown color thing, right? So even range also has something like this. The good thing about Colab is if you just put your mouse pointer on this, it will tell you what is this print, all of this. If you put on this range, it will explain you the whole definitions as well. Okay, so you need to understand about for, you need to understand about this range. Do a control /, this will comment. So for is a keyword, range is also a keyword. So now let's talk about how to write a simple for loop in Python. So this range, so range is not in statistics, people, if you know a little bit about statistics, you might know about range. So range is like low to high. For example, range of 1 to 100, right? So range has a starting number, ending number, right? So range, so let's say you put range of 1 to 100. So it's called from 1 to 100, all the numbers. So what is the starting one? What is the ending one, right? So range always needs two things, start and end. Okay, so by default start is equals to 0. So that means if you say range of 10, that means it is nothing but 0 to 10. If you say range of 5, that means it is 0 to 5. Okay, otherwise if you specify, let's say 10 to 20, right? So here it's not 0, right? So it's here you specified starting is 10 and ending is 20. If you don't specify, then it will consider that as 0 to 20. So now for example, let's say I want to print numbers between 1 to 10 using a for loop. So let's see how do we do that. See, manually if you want to do, you do print of 1, okay, run it. Then you do print of 2, then you run it. So you do it 10 times, right? Now instead of doing it 10 times, let us see how we can use for loop. Okay, for, so the way it works is for, then you have a variable, right? And we have something called in. I'll talk about in a bit as well, right? So this variable, let's say we call it I, right? For I in range of 1 to 10, you put a colon at the end of for, and then you do something. So let's say I'm printing this I. Okay, let me run this first and then I'll explain. You see the magic? it has printed all the numbers. Okay, so David, lots happening here, but what is this I, what is this in? Okay, range I understand, start to end, colon I understand, print I understand, but why did it print only 9 numbers? Yes, we'll unwrap each of them one by one. Okay, now what does this mean for? So here so in Python words it is called an iterator. So iterator is nothing but repeat. As I said, repeat, right? So here whatever you put does not matter. Let's say I put x and print x, it will still work. Instead of x I put David here, right? And here also I put David here, right? So it does not matter. So this is more like a temporary thing. Okay, so for some iterator in range of this, print that iterator. That's all. That is how Python understands. Okay, so let's come back to I. So that is about I. Now in is like a English word, right? So in is also another keyword that we have learned today, right? So we learned about for, we learned about range. Now we are talking about in. So in is more like an English word, right? For iterator in numbers between 1 to 10, print that iterator. Okay, for I in, right? So if you don't put in, it will let's say you don't put in and you just run this, it will throw you an error. Okay, it will not work, right? So for I in range of 1 to 10, print this I. Okay, so this is clear. Now tell me why this printed only till 9. Now the problem with Python here is, inside range, if you put an end number, it only does some action till end minus 1. Very important note. Okay, so only it works till end minus 1. Now if I have to print it till 10, make a guess, what do we need? Exactly, you have to put 11, right? Now run this, it will print till 10. So that is Python way of understanding, right? So you have to put 11 to get 10. If you want 15, you have to put 16. So just plus one number. Okay, so it does end minus 1. Okay, if you want to print till 100 numbers, then you have to print 1 to 100. Okay, so David, can you also print 0? Yes, for 0 you don't have to specify anything. For I in range of 100, you just put this. You see, 0 is also there. Quite amazing, isn't it? Right? Now for example, let us combine the one that we learned in the last lecture to this one. So let's say I want to combine both if and for, right? Now the action that I am doing is just printing, but what if I want to print only multiples of 10? Okay, in the range of 100. So let's say I print from 1 to 100, but I only want to print numbers like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Right, so and so on till 100. So how do I get that? So let's see how we can do that. So before we do that, we need to understand that multiples of 10. What does it mean? That means you have a number n, and when you divide that number with 10, you get a remainder of 0, isn't it? So that is what a multiple of 10 meaning, right? Now so let's see how you can get. So remember we talked about arithmetic operation. So let's say I have 100, I divide this by 10, you get the quotient as 10. But what if I need the remainder? You put a percent symbol and then you do this operation, you will get 0 as the remainder. Like let's say I put 103 and divide it, you see remainder, you get 3. Okay, now what we understood is, if I divide any number by 10, it should return me a remainder of 0. Then I understand it's a multiple of 10. Okay. Now if I have to write, I have a, let's call a number, let's give a variable name. So I have a random number 60. Okay. Now I want to check if this is divisible by 10 or not. So I'll write a if condition. If, you have to put your condition, if number percentage 10 does it result in 0, then you say print the number. Okay, so you run this, you see you get 60, right? And else you print nothing. Okay, you just print empty, right? Okay, it prints empty. If I put 61, it prints empty, nothing, right? If I put 68, nothing. If I put 70, it works. Okay, so now let us combine both of them. Okay, now for I in range of 100, Now I'll check I whether I is divisible by 100 or not. So I'll do if I is divisible by 10, which results in a remainder of 0, then print I. Okay, else do nothing, right? So just print empty. Right, now let's run this and let's see what actually happened. So what happened here, right? So okay, you see that only if it is divisible by 10 resulting in a remainder of 0, it is printing that number, otherwise it is not printing that number. You can also write not divisible. Okay, and let's run this. You can see it is not divisible, but 40. Okay, isn't this amazing, right? In the print statements, you can also combine your string and number as well. For example, what you can write is, you can say divisible and I, not divisible and I, right? Put a colon here. Now let's run this. You can say every number, it is not divisible, right? Quite amazing, isn't it? So that's how we can get multiples of 10. If you want multiples of 20, you do the same thing, right? Right, you can see 40, right? So 20, right? So this way you can actually combine both if and for statements together. I hope you understood. Let's move on to the next lecture. Alright, with for loop being done, now let's get to the Gemini part. So let's click on this Gemini. Now in the if else problem, we've asked Gemini to give us a practice question, isn't it? Now you can use it in different ways as well. For example, let's say I want to explore or learn more about loops in Python, right? So let's say I want to ask a couple of questions. So starting with what kind of loops exist in Python? Okay, I don't know anything, so I just asked it what kind of loops exist in Python. So okay, it gave me two loops, for loop and while loop. Okay, now for example, okay, I learned about for loop, so what about the while loop? So I want to know the differences between these two. You can have that as well, right? Now let's say I want to ask the question, explain the difference between for loop and while loop. So while I'm typing this, so David, these are all very simple questions. Why are you telling us? See, I think the way to ask questions is what matters, and also your intention, right? So that is why I'm even though these look very basic, but I'm still trying to tell you how powerful this can be and the kind of right question that you need to ask. Okay, so explain the difference between for loop and while loop, and also you can mention use an example, right? So use an example or explain with an example, right? So with a coding example, something like this. If you put this, so not only it explains the difference, but it will also help us explain the difference with the code, with the implementation as well. Okay, so simple for loop, range of 5, print I, while loop, while I is less than 5. So both of them give you the right answers, right? So see you in the next module.
So share it with the rest of the people. Comment section. Please like the video and subscribe it. Thank you very much.